Hey guys, my van build here, well, it's pretty simple. And after thousands of miles and 3 years out on the road, that is exactly why I love it. When I started building this van, I thought I had to insulate it, install max air fans, get solar, put a heater in here, etc., etc. And right away when I started this van build, I did insulate the floor with some foam board, 3/4 plywood, and then the final vinyl planking on top of that. I had purchased insulation for this whole van, though as you can see, I did not end up using it. And why did that happen? Well, when I was standing in here after the floor, getting ready to build out the rest, I was doing a lot of head scratching. And I started thinking to myself, with the insulation and the max air fan, do I really need all that stuff? And the more head scratching I did, and the more times I asked myself that question, my answer was almost always no. I did not need that stuff. And so far, after 3 years, it has worked out perfectly. I think keeping this build simple kept everything really enjoyable, really fun. So in this video, I kind of want to go over why I kept this van build simple and why it's been making traveling easy and fun. If you guys are here because you saw my video why I did not insulate my van, you probably already know I kind of look at things a little bit differently. And that video about not insulating my van is by far my most watched video. And I kind of wonder, is that because people are sick of hearing that they have to build their van like it is a tiny home or something? Truth is, guys, when I got into building this, I started thinking to myself, well, I don't have to build this for a Wisconsin blizzard. I'm not going to be out in them kind of temperatures. I started realizing I don't travel in those extreme temperatures, so why would I build this van for extreme temperatures if I'm not going to be in those conditions? I realized I have to build this van for how I travel, and I don't travel in extreme temperatures. I travel mostly in the spring, summer, and fall, and if I do travel in the winter, I'm headed straight south to the warm temperatures. So I'm glad I caught myself before I overbuilt this thing, and instead I built this for our lifestyle instead of somebody else's lifestyle that you see on YouTube or Instagram. So before you get too far into your build, make sure you're doing the right thing for yourself. And for me, another plus of keeping it simple, well, I like reliability, I like easy to maintain, and most importantly, I like being stress free. When I got into it, I realized I definitely did not want to spend a whole year building a van, and I sure the heck don't want to spend every weekend working on the van. I want to worry a little bit less about something failing out in the middle of nowhere. I figure less stuff, less things can break. So I kept the van build fairly simple. And so far, that has been my best choice I made when building this van. Now don't get me wrong, guys. I watch a lot of YouTube videos on van building and stuff like that. Some of them van builds, they are gorgeous. But man, do some of them look complicated. Of course, if you love building vans and that's your thing, great. If you're living in a van full time and you need all that stuff, that's totally understandable. But for most people, people like me, weekend warriors, maybe take a few trips out of the year, some of them builds are just overkill. Sometimes a lot of us, we might get swayed by what we see online, and we might want to build our vans for every scenario, even though most of us don't travel like that. For myself, I think we should concentrate on getting out there and enjoying the trip, man. Overbuilding, it just makes things more difficult. It really does. For myself, I built this van thinking it's going to give me some freedom. I definitely don't want to turn this into a job. I'd rather be outside chasing sunsets than insulation R values. I built this van here to work for my wife, my dog, and myself. It's not built to survive every climate on Earth. And a simple build, it saved me a lot of time, a good amount of money, and a whole lot of stress. And that's most important. And I gotta say, building everything else in this van, it was very enjoyable. Had a blast doing it. Really, with this build, we have had no complaints. It's been very flexible for camping, cross-country trips, hiking weekends, stuff like that. We didn't box ourselves in with this build. We kept our future options open so we can always adjust as time moves on. Though to be honest, I wouldn't mind building another van. just for the fun of it. And as this video is about being simple, I'm just kind of a simple person. And when it comes to gear and stuff like that, I am also a less is more kind of person. I kind of figure less gear, less clutter. I don't like a whole ton of clutter. However, unfortunately, when it comes to gear and stuff like that, me and my wife don't have the same less is more mentality. She likes being well equipped and having everything possible. I am much more of a minimalist. Now, saying all this, it doesn't mean I don't mind a little cold weather once in a while. We have definitely traveled in freezing temperatures, and it's been perfectly fine. You just gotta be smart about it. We have this little ceramic heater, and this keeps us nice and toasty in here, even at below freezing temperatures. I was actually thinking about making a video and giving that a test just to kind of show you guys how good it works. But I remember last year we stayed overnight. It was 28 degrees, and this thing is perfectly fine in those temperatures, even in a van without insulation. Of course, you need electrical hookup for that thing to work. Which I do gotta say, when it comes to being simple with your van build, if you stay at electric sites, it gives you that freedom to be a little more simple with your build. Obviously, if you do most, if not all of your camping off grid, it's going to be a little bit different scenario. Now, when I say we stay out in freezing temperatures, I don't mean we are traveling in 30-degree weather all day long. That is not happening. Because if we are out traveling in that kind of temperatures, we got to worry about frozen water. We got to worry about having a working diesel heater or something similar. And one thing I know for sure, I don't want to be at some parking lot in the middle of nowhere somewhere with my head in a wiring diagram trying to figure stuff out. Because there's one thing I can guarantee, because I know my luck. If I have all these extra things in my van, they're all going to be breaking. I'd rather spend my time driving and exploring and trying to work on something that I barely know anything about. And hey, maybe keeping a simple van build will rub off on you. You realize maybe you don't need that much to be happy. There's never going to be the perfect van, so build the van you need and enjoy the ride. My van build here, is it perfect? No, but it is exactly what I need, and that is the point of this video. If you are currently building a van, or a van build is in your future, I gotta say this, don't overthink it, but don't underthink it either. Figure out how to build it for how you travel and for how you use it. Don't worry about what you see other people doing. And it's all simple as that. Simple life to me equals easy life. And I like easy. I think next week I'll put a video together for you guys about the 5 big things I did not do in this van and why I am happy I made that decision. But until then, I got stuff to do. I'm sure you guys do too. Thanks for watching. We will see you next time. Take care.